take in, I give out, I let love, I let go, I release, and I know I forgive, I receive, I can feel, I believe, I am healed, I am whole, I release, I know. To push, no need to try, no need to worry or question why. Surrender, let go, release, and know.
Thousands of years ago, the Buddha taught you are what you think.
I am love. I am peace.
I am joy.
I am silly.
I am powerful.
So a modern philosopher coined the phrase that you are what you eat.
I am organic vanilla ice cream.
I'm chia seeds.
I'm a good, strong cup of coffee in the morning.
I am mac and cheese.
Today, like millions of my human sisters and brothers on planet Earth,
I'm becoming mindful about what I eat, what I think.
but lately, I've been thinking about this.
I watch what I eat, but do I watch what I watch?
What about what I feed my mind, my heart, and my soul?
At Conscious Good, we believe you are what you watch.
You are what you watch.
Anytime you watch something that causes your soul to hurt, there's an impact.
So what's the answer?
At Conscious Good,
We think it's about feeding our minds the same way that we feed our bodies.
With nourishing choices.
After all, if media can have a negative influence on behavior, it can also have a positive one.
It's been proven that if we watch TV shows and videos about people helping others,
Cooperating and being generous.
It can actually influence us to be more altruistic and kind to one another.
Talk about paying it forward.
So next time you sit down to watch your comfort movie,
consider how you will feel afterwards. Will you be happy and energized?
that's because maybe, just maybe,
What you want
Read
And listen to.
matters.
I am what I watch, so I watch what I watch.
I am nourished.
I am inspired.
I am enlightened.
I am a celebration.
I am conscious.
I am conscious.
I am conscious.
I am good.
I am good.
I am good.
We.
We.
We
We are.
We are
conscious good.
Everyone wishes to live their best life. We experiment with various ways to achieve that, whether it is through study, competing, finding a partner, working hard, or admiring someone who inspires you. It is the quality of our inner being that does it all, or grapples with fulfilling life's calling. For the past 20 years, the Brahma Kumaris in Washington, D.C. has been a space for any and everyone to enter into and experience one's soul calling. From 1997, the center opened in an old rickety house on Georgia Avenue in Silver Spring, Maryland, where cars and trucks that passed by would shake the space. But when you were inside, it was a peaceful and powerful sanctuary for all who visited. Since then, over 2,500 events, 17 city and nationwide initiatives, 21 awards, 2 meditation museums have served youths, senior citizens, entrepreneurs, scientists, authors, women, interfaith, the disabled, environment, small businesses, arts seekers, and even leaders. Millions of lives have been served, either through social media, the popular America Meditating radio show, or through exhibitions, lectures, partnerships, and programs held in the meditation museums and centers. We look at 20 years of service as a continued journey of love, courage, wisdom, and determination with friends from diverse backgrounds and thought who believe a better world is possible when we make ourselves better human beings. Meditation is an important tool that helps us to gain greater clarity, insights, and inner power so we can make healthy choices and amplify our capacity to live a full life. In times of great anxiety, insecurity, and fear, meditation is an essential practice for everyone to gain stability and inner strength. Just look at what a few dedicated, purposeful, and kind group of committed people have been able to achieve in 20 years. Thanks to everyone who have supported us along the way. And thanks in advance to those who believe in our work and power of intent. Brahma Kumaris Meditation Museums, where peace is inside.
Right now, at this very moment, take a deep breath in and out. Remind yourself that yes and no can be a full sentence. So stop trying to please everyone. Stop stressing. Say yes or no. It's a full sentence. Breathe in deeply. Release. Accept that you are perfect just as you are, and you are open for room for change. No more stress. Say yes or no. Sway your body left and right very slowly. Come back to the center. Center your eyes. And then direct your eyes as far upwards as you can. Come back to the center. Direct it downwards as far down as you can. Come back to the center. Sway left, sway right. Remind yourself, yes is a full sentence. No is a full sentence. Today, stop stressing trying to people please and please yourself. Om Shanti. Welcome to the next normal. I'm your host, Sister Jenna. Hope you enjoyed that meditation that we just offered. I think we were in Roboken. Was it Roboken in New Jersey last year, and we were on the ferry heading over to Manhattan. I think I was doing something at the Deepak Chopra Center or something, and just I like to capture scenes, and I just captured it from my iPhone. So I hope you like that. And I think the other part of that was when I was in Florida on Fisher Island, and I would go driving around in a little golf cart, and I captured the beautiful sunset on Fisher Island. So that was the meditation that you just heard. The musical background was by Ricky Cage, and the lyrics and the meditation was by yours truly. Can't wait for the album to be released. His company is working on getting that out. And I know you've heard Vibrations of Love so far, and that's been doing well. And we would love for you to keep sharing that with your friends if you think it's experiential and it offers some sort of a respite in these particular times. I was mentioning to Santosh Bhai that it's not one of my favorite topics, the critical voice within, and I asked him, what do you think is the responsibility of a critical voice? And he said, definitely ego. And then he asked me, it's ego, no? And I go, I don't know, it depends. I don't know, something to think about. But I do know that many of us have had moments in our own lives where we've not always thought the best about ourselves, especially after we've made a decision that we regret. Or perhaps settling of karmas of many, many births have caught up with us, and we're going through a particular period in life, and instead of taking the high road, we take the low road. So the critical voice, I was sharing with Santosh, I don't know why, and we both started laughing, that the more you criticize me, the better I get. I don't know why. If you praise me too much and you love me too much, then I get a little laid back, and I think maybe I start to eat from those fruits and I stop developing or growing. And I'm not saying that that's good or that's bad. I've just found that, and especially if it's individuals that really, really matter to me, which is just about everybody in the world, but in particular, if it's somebody that I really value their thoughts and their wisdom, and if they make a critical comment about me, I don't know what it is, but it's as if they've given me a vaccine to just boost my energy. And I think there's a part of me that gets awakened, and I feel like I don't believe what they've just said I am. I just won't accept it. And so whether they are right or not, for whatever reason, the manifestation of those words directed to me in my name have touched my heart. It triggers something in me, and I just wake up. I go, there's no way I'm that. There's no way I'm going to believe that that's who you think I am, or that's how I'm supposed to be. And it just drives me. Psychologists have said that sometimes the best compliment is to be criticized. You know, they claim that if someone criticizes you, you're actually, what's happening is that they're actually seeing you in a higher light. They're seeing you in a better version, but they just don't know how to articulate it. But parents, those of you who have had to deal with your teenagers, and when you've tried to give them the best advice with love and with softness and kindness, and they don't hear, then you go into the screaming mode, and then they start to scream back at you, and then maybe 2 days later everything smooths over, and then you go, see, I always tell you this is exactly what you do, and you see what happened? See, so I was right. And then again, it goes back into that mode, you know, that whole negative process of looking at others. But today I want to talk about the way we look at ourselves, you know, that interpretation that we carry. And depending on your upbringing as a child, or what the vibrations were when you were in the womb of your parent, or roll back even further than that, what were you doing before this birth? What were you doing 5 births ago? What was your mentality like 10 lifetimes, 20 lifetimes ago? Go back as far as you wish. I don't know how many of you have ever heard of Dr. Brian Weiss, but he was this incredible physician who would look deep into recognizing why we are the way we are and what are these phobias and fears. And he would take people through hypnosis to travel back in time to identify why they feel the way they feel and why they are the way that they are. Right before coming on, Brother Santosh was sharing, I don't know what it is, I think it's some karma. I cannot handle tight clothes. And I told him, wow, back in my days, in my 20s, that's all I wore, tight pants, tight clothes, tight dresses. And now I don't want anything tight. I just want to be comfortable. Don't need to be making too much of a fashion statement. But he was saying, I just can't handle a lot of tight stuff, because since the pandemic, he's been expanding without lifting weights. And so he's been like, who gets muscles and not lift weights? Santosh Bhai does. I don't know what he's eating. And I was asking him, are you lifting heavy things? He goes, I'm not lifting anything. I'm just in the studio all day, or I'm doing this, or I'm going here. And I go, well, that's a blessing, because I can't begin to tell you how many men out there would love to pop muscles up outside of their bodies without making any effort for it. I think it will be the whole population of men out there. And he's not on steroids either. So I think it's just his blessing. Maybe he doesn't have a critical voice, and maybe if he just had a thought that I need to pump up, all of a sudden the muscles start to come. And maybe he's eating too much spinach. Remember with Popeye? Popeye just ate spinach, and before you knew it, plop, 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 plop. So it might be all that good food that he's eating. But anyway, back to our conversation. Whatever it might be that we're carrying, whether it's of many lifetimes or just this one, I believe that when I look at the critical voice, there's something that I've been through, that for some reason I felt that I could have done better. I felt that there was a loss. I felt maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I made a decision that wasn't right, and it impacted other people. And I can feel the result of that. I can feel it in my consciousness. I can feel it in my body. And if I go without attending that emotion for a long time, and I'm carrying that vibration in me, and I'm not telling you I feel guilty, I'm not telling you I'm ashamed, I'm not telling you that I'm scared, I'm not telling you that I might feel I'm inadequate, I'm not telling you any of these things. So internally, we might be still having the thought, whether we are conscious of it or unconscious, but we might find ourselves revisiting an event that took place many years ago that still has left a scar in my heart, in the soul, and I haven't resolved it. And so as an energy in the soul, I attract people to somehow highlight that particular area by the way they speak to me or at me. I was reading my astrology many years ago. There's a wonderful brother in Brampton who read my astrology when we were in India. And one of the things he was sharing about my particular astrology, and by the way, I'm born in the month of March, March 12th, so I'm Pisces. I love being a Pisces, even though I won't be that in many births, but I just love being Pisces. Why do I love being Pisces? I think there's an innate natural spirituality in a lot of folks, especially the women. I don't know much about the men, but the women, there's just an innate spiritual knowing about them. There is an intuitive, great art of creativity in Pisceans. I've seen it over and over again. And there's just a very friendly, affectionate group of people. I've just met so many, and they're just so loved, and they're just so unique. They're not like anyone else. They're just very different. So Brian read my astrology, and he said, in this incarnation, you will attract a lot of critical people because you're so super sensitive. And the criticisms that you will get from people is actually designed for you to dive in and to build your power. So I asked Brian, I says, well, can I learn some other way? Do I have to be criticized in order for me to break my sensitivity? And he says, of course not. You can learn in any particular way you might choose to want to learn. But karmically, in this incarnation, you will be doing very, very well. You will always exceed in anything you put your mind to. And as a result of that, it will ruffle a lot of people's feathers, and you will hear whatever it is that's disturbing them about you, and you will have to decide how you're going to receive it. It has taken me many, many years to overcome the critical remarks, or even the better part for me are those critical thoughts that people have of you. I've been on so many, I've been in a lot of situations and meetings where you can just feel the vibrations in the air, and I have to find the strength to overcome what I'm feeling, because they have a right to think what they are thinking, but I have a right to believe in what I want to believe, and I have a right to take power from God to find the strength to transform my energies, that I don't even attract that. And I think that when we nurture a critical voice, we go into conversations that become very, very natural in your heads. You either compare yourself with other people, you judge other people, you complain about other people, and it leaves you in a mode of consistently not thinking well about you. Because if you are extending your most greatest resource, which is the power of your beautiful mind, to step into somebody else's waste and to think about this one's behavior, that one's attitude. Why is he like that? Why is she like this? She thinks she's this, she thinks she's that. Well, who is she? Who is that? You know, one of the things I took from our talk with Carolyn Mace, and I will highly recommend you to go and visit that Next Normal, which was a week ago, was something that touched my heart very much that Caroline had said. So many times we chit-chat, she leaves me with something that I take away as a memorial. And she said that she's found that people who do very well in whatever it is that they're called to do intimidate people. And as a result of that intimidation, if people are in a position of power or whatever, they will never praise that person and help them to even go further because of that intimidation. And I thought about that, you know, and that is so interesting. I never really gave that much thought about this whole reason why we are in this quandary of such negativity in relationships and negativity with people. One, we don't want to share whatever little bit of power we even have left in ourselves. I mean, you all hear me talk a lot about the lower vibrational energy of algae and how algae really takes away your power to really stand firm and be positive about yourself. And what the algae does, it makes you find a comfortable place inside of yourself to think less than about yourself and less than about others too. There are times that when somebody criticizes you, it helps. It helps you to maybe see something that you have missed. Sometimes their criticism isn't always shallow or empty, you know. Sometimes their criticisms isn't about a lie or deception or jealousy. Sometimes their criticism is tapping into a subtle part in your personality that could use a lot more light and a lot more love. But there are those criticisms in which people just don't know you at all. And they just hear, say, and create a propaganda about you, and one goes to another and into another and to another and to another. And you find that every time you engage in conversations of gossiping or waste narrative about other people or even about your own self, how much time do you waste? How much of your life have you stolen when you waste your most powerful asset, which is the power of your thoughts, to think the worst thing about you or even the worst thing about someone else? It's such a waste, isn't it? If you were to put aside all of your patterns of judgment, expectation, jealousy, competition, comparison, complaining, blame, right? Dismissing people. Let's say you put aside all of those kinds of thoughts that you might have on a day-to-day basis with your spouses, with your children, with even someone that you're seeing on the news, or a colleague at work in your Zoom meeting, or your next door neighbor, whatever it might be. What would your life be like if those were no longer in your consciousness? How much space would you make in the soul to attract fortune, to attract power, to attract love, to attract everything that you think you deserve? I came across a really cute video. I wanted Santosh to play that on. It's an animated video on critical thinking, and I thought that it could help us a little bit more to recognize how we get into this whole pattern of critical thinking and what we need to do to get out of the pattern as well. Enjoy.
How would you feel if someone were criticizing your every move, saying things like, "You're so stupid," "You're weird, you're not like other people," "You're ugly, look at your big nose"? You probably wouldn't stand for it. You definitely wouldn't let anyone talk to a friend like that. So why do you tolerate this level of cruelty when you are criticizing yourself? We all have a critical inner voice instructing us on how to live our lives and influencing how we feel about ourselves and how we behave, like a nasty coach that lives inside our heads. The critical inner voice describes the part of us that is turned against ourselves. It consists of negative thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes that oppose our best interests and diminish our self-esteem. It's our own worst enemy. The critical inner voice strongly encourages self-defeating and self-destructive behavior with thoughts like, there's no point in trying, or why don't you just give up? And this hostile, judgmental advisor doesn't stop with us. It warns us about other people, promoting angry and cynical attitudes toward them and creating a negative, pessimistic picture of the world. The inner voice can also be deceptively self-soothing. It may sound sweet and supportive while encouraging us to act in ways that are self-destructive. For instance, the voice may say, "Have another glass of wine. You've had a rough day. You deserve it." But after you've had that second glass of wine, the voice may change its tune and punish you for the very behavior it just encouraged, firing off comments like, "What are you, an alcoholic? Don't you have any self-control?" The critical inner voice exists to varying degrees in every person. Although most of us are conscious of some aspects of this inner critic, many of our negative thoughts exist on an unconscious level. Too often we just accept these vicious tirades as the truth. So where does the critical inner voice come from? The way we are viewed growing up and the attitudes directed toward us as children shape how we see ourselves. Harmful views directed at us by parents or other influential caretakers are internalized to make up our self-image. Children also pick up on the critical feelings their parents have toward themselves, and they may take on a parent's self-attacks as their own. Kids are particularly sensitive to times where a parent overreacts critically toward them, like when a parent loses it during times of stress. It's not just our parents' attitudes toward us that gives substance to the critical inner voice. Other influential adults, such as significant family members or teachers, can impact the way we see ourselves. So can siblings, peers, and even society at large. As we get older, we carry these critical thoughts with us. Only now we think these negative things about ourselves. If we pay attention, we can observe the critical inner voice at work in various areas of our lives. Its nasty assaults diminish our self-esteem, interfere with our romantic relationships, undermine us at work, and intrude on our parenting. However, there are steps you can take to overcome your critical inner voice. The first step is to identify what your inner critic is telling you. Next, you should separate from your inner critic by articulating the thoughts as you statements. So instead of saying, "I am so awkward," you would say, "You are so awkward." This process helps you see these thoughts as an alien point of view and not as true statements. Notice how hostile this internal enemy can be, and remember that these thoughts are not a reflection of reality. Think about where these attacks could be coming from. What influences or experiences in your past could have triggered you to develop these negative feelings about yourself? The next step is to answer back to your voice attacks. Using I statements, respond to your inner critic by saying aloud or writing down a more realistic and compassionate evaluation of yourself. This initial response is often emotional and strongly felt. Afterward, it is important for you to make rational statements about how you really are. This exercise isn't meant to build you up, but to show a kinder, more honest attitude toward yourself, and ultimately to help you conquer your critical inner voice. Once you have identified the areas in which you limit yourself, you can begin to change yourself. The final step is to stop acting on your inner critic's bad advice. For example, if you are shy, you can stop avoiding social interactions, and you can make a point of striking up conversations with people. Clearing your mind of this constant swarm of self-attacks is a life-changing endeavor. By emancipating yourself from your inner critic, you will stop self-sabotaging behaviors and be free to pursue more satisfaction and meaning in life. You will feel more at peace within yourself and closer to those you love. You will even enjoy a more compassionate view of the world and an optimistic outlook on life.
Wasn't that amazing? I love that video because it gave us such insights. I mean, think about how many times you have overgeneralized your interpretation of yourself because of what somebody told you. How many of you today, till this day, still remember what somebody at school called you or a relative said to you. Like, you know, she's like this, she's like that. And then you take it on board as if it's really completely true. It's something I like in the teachings of Byron Katie, who was actually one of my first guests on America Meditating Radio. And I'm glad that I'm remembering her today. I'll have to give her a call to see if we can get her back on. It's been a long time. But anyway, Byron Katie has this program called, I forgot the complete name, but she turns everything around that if you make an assumption or a judgment on somebody, the question to ask yourself is it true? So imagine the next time you find yourself in a situation where somebody very close to you, or maybe even a stranger, makes a critical judgment or remark about you. Then you have to step back for a little bit, and then you go to Baba, go to God, and you ask, is this true? Am I really like that? All the time? And one of the things that I've never appreciated is putting labels on people. To this day, I don't want to say Sister Gita has. See? I can't even say it. I just say she's entertaining. Yes, sometimes she doesn't remember very well. Sometimes. And the reason why we intentionally do that is so that we don't infuse that vibration in the person. So even if there is an element of truth, then I need to ask myself still, is it true? Is it true what they said about me, Baba? Am I really that? And 9 times out of 10, the answer will be, no, you're not. You do have a tendency. Yes, you've had the experience. Yes, the capacity is there in you. But you're not always angry. You're not always shy. You're not always bossy. Whatever it might be that people have called you. You have to start to turn it around, because there's so much capacity in the soul waiting to be used in a way that will be useful, not just for your life, but for the life of those around you. So let's take a moment right now, and I'd like to invite you to try to remember a time when someone did say something to you that was very critical. It was the way they said it too, perhaps. And it could have been the way they looked at you, and it could have been that moment in time. Did you remember how it made you feel? I remember for me, I felt so small. It's almost as if I felt the person who was criticizing me was intentionally wanting to either break an ego in me or break me down, that I wouldn't believe in myself. It was a very interesting experience for me. Now, what was it like for you when you bumped into your great critic? And that's outside of you. This has nothing to do with you at this time. Did you remember what you were doing? Where was your life at that time? And how were you feeling? What did they say to you that really felt like a dagger in your heart? You felt almost as if they were trying to take away your breath with their words. Or did you hear something from a friend or a relative that somebody said behind your back about you? And then the person came back and told you, and it just like, oh, they think like that about me? Is that really how I am? Okay. Now, for those of you who might be a little bit like me, that if you get criticized, you optimize your game, maybe this exercise isn't for you. But of course, when I was in my 20s, I was a lot more delicate. But then as I grew into my 30s and 40s and 50s, I handle criticisms in a completely different way than I did in my 20s. For whatever reason, in my 20s, I was just so delicate and so vulnerable, and also quite what's the word? Impressionable, in terms of if I trusted you and I believed in you, then if you did say something to me, I just deemed it true without using my own discernment and wisdom and understanding and self-compassion to wonder, is it really true? Like I never asked myself, is it true? Now I ask myself, is that true? No way. You know? So check how that feeling is again that you might be having at this moment. And how that hit you at a deep soul level. Now imagine all the countless times that you talk to yourself like that. When you're going for a job promotion and you get this inner critic saying, you'll never get it, you know you're not good enough. Where did that come from? When you're trying to create a new idea and bring it forward, let's say you're looking for an investor, and as you go out and you put all this energy in your idea and then you're ready to go knock on the door of the investor, you get scared. You're like, they're not going to give me the money. I need it so bad, but why would they invest in me anyway? What have I done? Just imagine the blow, the impact it's having on you when you are the one doing it to yourself. You see, it's different when somebody does it to you. They can move on. It's like, Om Shanti, see you later, right? But when you do it to yourself, how do you move on from that? And how do you move away from that? When the inner critic and the critic within you is renting freely in your house of your mind. So again, are you willing to continue as of tonight, allowing that feeling to keep hitting at you, hitting you over and over again? When you get that one thought to do something a little bit more, to be a little bit more. Why? Because God's calling you. Baba is calling you to expand your potential, to raise your volume, to dream so big that fear would tremble when it sees your dreams. Are you willing to put to rest the inner critic and keep asking, whenever it comes up, is it really true? Am I really not good enough? What will be your answer? There's no way you would accept it and say, it's true, I'm not good enough. You would say, I am good, but I've got areas that I really want to work on. So each time you ask yourself this question, is it really true? What my mother said, I am. What my father said, I am. Is it true what my brother says, I am, or my sister thinks I am? Is it true? Is my sister telling the truth when she says, you are so selfish? Am I really? Is it true? And the moment you begin to practice this level of honesty with yourself and you make it a consistent duty to pay attention to being truthful with you, then you can find your answers so much quicker and you'll be able to move on and rise so much faster. How many comments are you holding in your heart that you felt were offensive, that were very critical, that were very negative about you. And there are a million other good things about you, but you don't serve them as much as you serve the critic. You know, they release movies and then it goes for review. People are always looking for review. Why? Because we want to make ourselves better. We want to find out, did I do well? Did it go right? Was this okay? So there are times when you consciously put yourself out there and you ask for people's critical judgment or critical reviews on what you're doing or saying. And that's such a beautiful thing to do. When you actually ask for reviews and you go, well, what do you think? You think I could be better? Well, you know, you shouldn't do this. I go, okay. And you'll find that it's a different energy than when you don't open yourself up to say, I'm so far from perfection, but I'm so open to thriving for it. Can you help me? Can you imagine what the quality of our relationships would be like? When you think like that, when you relate like that to yourself and to one another, how beautiful that would be. I'm still working on a little bit of the inner critic. Sometimes I'll feel like one of the critics that comes up in me that I've heard quite regularly, I'll say, Jen, you're the only one holding yourself back. I'll say it. I've heard myself say it quite a number of times. Baba has taught us so much about the belief of thought, the belief of beautiful relationships. Baba has taught us so much about the power of purity, the power of your innocence attracts all the good things in your life. And I'm not saying that we haven't gotten it, we've gotten an abundance of it. But there's always that element in the soul that says, but there's more waiting for you. And your more isn't connected to your desires. Your more is connected to the fact that you, the soul, been there, done that. What's next? It's a difference. When your more is coming because of a lack, because you see somebody else has it, and so you want it, not that one. That's not a more, actually, that's a less. Whenever you try to chase after the desires chase after you, and nobody actually gets fulfilled. What do you think? A temporary stint of happiness is really the fulfillment of life? I don't believe it. I don't believe that a new car will give me happiness for decades. Tesla, maybe. I don't believe that everything external will give me happiness for decades. I believe that the moment the soul acknowledges that this is something new in its life, it has a sense of excitement and joy because it's new, it's a new energy. But to think that that's what I was putting all my energy in to achieve, and then I get a little bit of a moment of bliss, that's an illusion. I was looking at Happy today, and she's still not well. I mean, she's been on antibiotics now for 5 days. She's still peeing blood. I've called all the doctors. We've taken her. I think the next thing we have to do is get an ultrasound on her to see how she's doing. And today I was just looking at her at the corner because Antonia comes to me yesterday, and she says, "Sister, you know, I just want you to know, you know, if she's still going through this, I just don't want her to die." she's like going, you know, I had a cat and this happened to the cat and this happened, and I was like, I'm not looking at Happy as if she's going to die, FYI, but I do want to find the solution to why she's not able to, you know, be able to go to the bathroom easily. And I've been calling 3 or 4 pet doctors and veterinarians, and if there's anyone out there who's a veterinarian and you can make any recommendation as to what we can do to reduce. I think some of the places, they won't tell you what to do off the counter because maybe then you won't go in to see them. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure if we just know what is needed, then we can help her to be able to go, you know, and do her thing a lot more easily. Anyway, back to the story. I'm looking at Happy And I'm seeing her soul, you know, I'm going, you're a soul. And if you have to leave us, then okay. But I would not want you to. I would love if you hang around for another 6 or 7 years. It would be so great to just have your joy around the place. And as I walked away from having that thought with her, I was thinking to myself, it's so interesting. You and I have no idea how long we will be in each other's lives. But again, we walk with this interpretation that we're supposed to be with each other forever. And that interpretation, when we realize nobody is with anyone forever, at least in their forms that they show up with in our lives, that can give us a lot of sorrow, and we can even start to be very critical, and we can start to say how awful our lives are, and this happened to me and that happened to me, and nothing good ever happens to me, and every time I love something it leaves me, and all of those thoughts. And you keep repeating them over and over again. And what happens? You start to believe in it, and it starts to become a reality. And vibrationally, it says, okay, well, since you believe in that, then yeah, okay. So let us tonight really look at what are those sentences that we repeat over and over again in our consciousness about the way we see ourselves. And are you willing to now write next to that sentence and ask, is it really true? Are you really like that? And just wait and see what your answer would be. All right? Okay. So I hope I'm making some sense tonight. Let's see if I can find my glasses. Tomorrow we're going to have a really nice show with UN human rights lawyer and advocate for peace, Amadine Roche. So she's in Bangui in Central Africa, where she has an assignment to empower the women there. And it's quite a very powerful story, so I'm looking forward to our conversation tomorrow. So hopefully you'll be able to join us tomorrow and learn more about the role of women empowerment in different countries. Hi everyone, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. So yes, V, nice to have you. As said, depends on what we want to feed, yes. Repal, you're a Pisces too, and I agree upon it, yes. Though being so lovable and friendly, we do get a lot of a lot of heartaches, I think is what you're trying to say. So thank you. Hi Denise, Om Shanti, nice to have you. Carlene, welcome. Forgiveness of self and others is an ongoing principle to practice, yes. Mukta, I'm glad you enjoyed the video. Susanna, welcome. Om Shanti. I'm sending this session to all my favorite people. Good. Keep sending the session to all your favorite people. And don't forget to press the like button. Manakshi, Nita, Om Shanti. Nice to have you. Asmita, oh, welcome. Very nice to have you all the way from India. Nagashri, Samantha, Abby from New Jersey, where it's stormy. It's also a little bit like that here too. Ranju, nice to have you on. I heard that you're planning to join our advanced classes of the Murli, so warm welcome when you get a chance. Grace, thank you for letting me know it's Hoboken. Yes, Hoboken, New Jersey. Fantastic. You're the best. Sending lots of love to your little baby angel to heal well as well. So do you think what I've been sharing makes sense? Because we do get into a particular place where, I mean, it's good to be honest with yourself, and you can say, yeah, you know, I tend to be a little bit, you know, I don't know, I'll say, yeah, I'm a little bit over-optimistic, and it can get on people's nerves. But is it true that I'm always over-optimistic? No. Sometimes I'm really real, down to earth. What's really got to be done needs to be done, right? So that element, that level of self-reflection and honesty, and turning it around and asking what they've said about you, is it true? Especially when you're in the public eye, people make all sorts of comments about you. And then you go, is it true? There's so many celebrities that I've come across, and they will tell you about those negative, awful comments that people make of them. And some of them hurt really, really bad. Because their comments also are, you know, there's an element that you question, are they telling the truth? That's why whenever you start to become your own critic, you need to ask yourself, is what I'm thinking about myself true? In order for you to find an answer. Very crucial. Absolutely imperative. Man, I can't begin to tell you. It is so important. There's nothing more I'd like than for us to be these beautiful, fragrant flowers. Just passing through life with the best of all that we've got to offer each other. And then sometimes comes this powerless part of you that pulls from the lower vibrations and starts to feed it. Like Yesvi said, whatever you feed the most, you become. So, let's see if we can turn that around, shall we? All right. I want to play Kristen Hoffman's song that she gifted Carolyn Mace with when we were on together. I was listening to it today, and it was just so moving again. And we're hoping to be able to put that in a video at some point and give that to Caroline as well as a gift, and to Kristen as well. So enjoy this beautiful music, and I'll see you shortly.
Sweet divine, you know my soul in intimate light. You guide me with a map of signs. Let me know that it's alright. It's alright. Sweet divine, when we speak in deepest prayer, in the silence feel you there. Like you're always so aware of me. And in these conversations, you help me see the way. These conversations, my unique offering. These conversations, the healing that is mine. Oh, sweet divine, sweet divine, in your gaze I'm never alone. You lead me back to heart and home. Help me hear the truest tone who I am. Sweet divine, even when I'm living asleep, forgotten how to listen deep, you find a way to sing to me through the night. In these conversations, you help me see the way. These conversations, my unique offering. These conversations, the healing that is mine to claim. Oh, sweet divine. oh sweet divine, sweet divine.
I love Kristen Hoffman. She just put that together as our gift to Carolyn Mace when we had her on. Such a talent, huh? Such a talent. And if she had allowed her inner critic to say, Sister Jenna, I can't come up with a song overnight. You just asked me and your program is tomorrow. There's no way I can ever do it. She was like, let me see what the divine's going to offer me. And that's exactly what emerged as a result. Again, how often does that inner critic stop us from attracting the fortune that we rightfully deserve? How many times are we pushing off the fortune that wants to come into our lives because we don't think we're good enough for it? There's something that's a recording still sitting in the soul. I don't deserve this. I was remembering a documentary Santosh and I were talking about a few months ago where the guy was a drunk driver and he ended up killing a woman, her husband's child, and his best friend. And the wife had gained amnesia, so she didn't know that he was responsible for ruining her life, so to speak. But years had passed and he just would not allow anyone to love him. He was devastated by the poor choice that he had made that impacted the lives of so many. And they stayed connected and stayed friends. And would you believe this? Because she didn't know what he did, all she gave was love. And eventually he broke down and told her what has actually happened. And she looked at him and said, but it was destiny. If it wasn't going to be you, it would have been somebody else. We can't interfere in destiny. And so I wonder how many times we use this critical voice because we don't recognize that destiny's in charge. And if I could just get myself out of thinking so low about myself, life will be so rich and so full of so many wonders and splendid things. And wonder and splendid things doesn't necessarily mean you need 100 million people to like and come after you and say they love you. Splendid means the way you and your parents, or the way you and your family, or the way you and your friends just roll through life together. There's just love and harmony and respect, cooperation, unity, growth, wisdom, laughter, peace, stillness, bliss, and even sometimes tension. Because that tension also directs you somewhere inside of you where you're holding tension. And then through that particular situation, you try to assist yourself to get out of it. Really important. Right, so for those of you that are on Facebook, lots of love and thank you for joining us. Louise Bennett, so nice to have you. Long time no see. Nancy O'Neill, Om Shanti. Diamond, I'm so sorry about your cat. Oh. Barbara Goodman, good wishes. Don't worry, don't shut down. Just lighten up. That's going to be the key. So Louise and Bill, it's been ages since we've reconnected. I've got to call you. So sending you both so much love. And I think Joanna must have moved close to us, right? In McLean somewhere. So I'd love for her to give me a call and see the kids and see how everyone's doing. It's been ages. Lots of love to each of you. Mina, Jane, everybody, Sheila, thank you for joining us. Thanks a lot, everyone, for the love and the light and the beauty. Asmita, lots of love to your mother-in-law. What's happened? Shall we do a little meditation for her before we close off? Yes? Yes. Make sure she's okay. All right. Yeah, don't worry. I know your mother-in-law is going to be fine. We also heard today Santosh's dad and mom. His dad accidentally, the scooter, the stand went on his foot, so he went to get a tetanus shot, and there was a very bad reaction as a result of the tetanus shot. And I think his mother must have psychosomatically picked up a little bit of that, and she's also a little bit under the weather. So let us send our collective healing vibrations to Santosha's parents, to Asmita's mother-in-law, that she's also going to be fine. And the way that I look at this is, let us raise our vibrations, connect to God, and wherever those beautiful souls are that are connected to these people, then through us, their vibrations, that vibration of that collective healing light and energy, and also to Happy. Yeah, let's send that Reiki and that loving, peaceful, healing energy also to Happy. And let us really see everybody very healthy, kind of push through whatever they're going through. See the light from Baba through you, going through their whole beings and removing whatever that block is. Wherever that block is, just remove it. Get that light through there. Just let the light flow through and set them into that place of healing modality. Just light everywhere. It certainly will give some comfort. Thanks everybody for joining us today on The Next Normal. Please have a wonderful night, and feel free to check over this exercise. Check, is it really true what people have said about you? And you determine that for yourself. But always remember to go to Baba, because Baba will definitely give you the exact right answer. And that's always going to be, you are made perfectly in my eyes. Have a lovely evening. Om Shanti. Hi everyone, it's Sister Jenna from America Meditating Radio. I hope you've been enjoying Wiseish, which you can get live on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45. But you can also get it on demand 24/7. It's going to be your power boost for the morning. It's your daily dose for the soul. It's just going to encourage you to make the day that much more valuable. So join us. Looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for